Now that Yusuke Murata, the illustrator of One Punch Man, has claimed Togashi's dodgy looking tweet to not be a hoax, I thought to myself, fuck, what on earth was happening on the Black Whale I don't remember? So I figured a lot of you may have the same issue and appreciate a simplified breakdown and summary so that you don't have to reread the entire Succession War and sift through the Hunter Wikia piecing it all together again. I must warn you though, as you can tell by the length of this video, even a very watered down summary of this stage of the story is still a lot of info to take in. So what I'm going to do is first summarise everything to you in brief explanations, and then at the end of the video give a summary of the summaries where I just bullet point everything that I've just told you. Yeah, that should be helpful. Look, the intricacies of this part of Hunter x Hunter are absolutely interesting to delve into. The more time I spend familiarising with it, the more I find myself enjoying and loving the Voyage saga. So here it is, my recap of the Dark Continent / Succession War arc. I'll break down this recap into 9 sections. The Expedition Plan, the Black Whale, the Haley family, the Shiyu family, the Char family, the Bua family, the Phantom Troop in Hisoka, Kurapika, the Zodiacs and beyond Netero, and finally the 14 Princes. Let's start off with the intentions behind the expedition itself. But before I get into that, a quick disclaimer. I do have subscription Tourette's, so if I ever randomly subscribe, bitch! Like that, then I apologise in advance, as I really can't help it. Prick! Hit the bell, you wanker! Where was I? Ah yes, the Black Whale Voyage Expedition Crusade Odyssey Pilgrimage. King Nasubi of the Kakin Empire plans to colonise the Dark Continent, a project that ignores all normal procedures. Due to King Nasubi's massive support from the populace, stopping him would require military intervention. Instead, Deputy Secretary Steiner of the International Permit Agency is put in charge of a team coordinating the restricted voyage agencies. A plan is devised whereby the Black Whale will stop off at an island called the New Continent and pretend to the Kakin Empire that it is really the Dark Continent. Once ditching the king, surviving princes and other Kakin members there, a team of explorers will be led by Morel to a relay base and then to a giant gate, which seems to be on the far side of the New Continent, and will then continue to the Dark Continent, presumably on the Black Whale. The team of explorers includes Beyond Netero, the Zodiacs, as well as other certified hunters, the International Permit Agency and the Restricted Voyage Agencies, though it's not confirmed that any of said agencies plan to actually alight once reaching the Dark Continent shores. Next up, let's quickly go through key areas in the Black Whale's layout. The Black Whale is comprised of 41 decks split across 4 tiers, tiers 2 to 5, as well as a luxury yacht at the top known as Tier 1. Tier 1 holds the royals and many of their most trusted soldiers. It's also got some other stuff like a jail where Beyond and Camilla are held, the Supreme Court and a lifeboat launch site. Tier 2 holds celebrities and the super rich. A bulkhead keeps it safe from lower tier scumbags and the mafia, but the downside is everything above the bulkhead it counts as hunting grounds for the Succession War. All the tiers below this are full of middle to low earning civilians. Tier 3 holds the Haley family's office / hideout. It also contains a political ward, medical ward and the central court. Tier 4 holds the Shiyu family's office / hideout. It also contains the Kakin Royal Army conference room headed by Mizaiston. Tier 5 holds the Char family's office / hideout. It also contains a storage warehouse and cafeteria, and it's the only tier where the Bua family members have been seen hanging out, though they don't appear to have an office of their own anywhere on the ship. Here's a little list of all the Black Whale passengers. 200,000 people, eh? And Tier 5 doesn't get a single doctor. That's a bit mean. Right, let's get into the juice of this entire affair and talk about the 4 Kakin Mafia families, shall we? It's worth noting before we begin that the heads of the 4 Kakin Mafias, or at least the 3 heads we know of, are illegitimately related to King Nasubi. There are 4 Kakin Mafias in total: the Shiyus, the Haleys, the Chars and the Buas. The Shiyu family is run by Onya Longbao, who is an illegitimate half-brother of the king. They total over 300 members and their benefactor is 3rd Prince Zhang. The Haley family is run by Morena Prudo, who is both the mistress and illegitimate daughter of the king. They total 23 members and their benefactor is 4th Prince Saritnik. The Char family is run by Brocco Lee, who is also an illegitimate half-brother of the king. This makes Morena the illegitimate niece of both Anya and Brocco. The Chars total 250 members, and their benefactor is 7th Prince Lazarus. The Boer family are pretty unknown and appear to be the weakest of the four. Only 3 members have been seen. We know that they total under 300 but have no idea exactly how many there are, nor do we know which prince, if any, acts as their benefactor. With that out the way, let's go through them individually and get into the details of each family, their current position in the arc, and their background. Right then, let's kick off with the Haley family, as their antics are the ones that tie in most with everyone else. The Shiyu, Haley and Char families are rivals, whereas the Boer family is something of an underdog. The 3 rival families are all trying to kill off members from each other so that they have more power to secure land on the Dark, or rather new, continent. However, Morena came into power with the Haley family via a coup d'etat. She then had the members of the Haley family participate in a battle royale type free-for-all deathmatch until only 22 remained. Presumably due to her mistreatment at King Nasubi's hands, being given 2 scars across her eye to label her an illegitimate child and feeling the full brunt of nepotism at its worst, her motives are somewhat different to her underlings. Rather than focusing her efforts on fighting the Mafia families directly, which would be the smart thing to do, Morena basically goes, yeah, but like, you know, no. And instead she just wants to wreak havoc on Earth and start by killing as many people on the Black Whale as possible. Very smart. To facilitate her havoc, Morena develops a Nen ability called Contagion. By kissing her targets, Contagion enters them into a sort of point-scoring death game. Her infected targets start at level 0 in the game, a level which ranks up as they kill people. The murder of a non-Nen user will rank them up by 1 level, killing a Nen user will increase their rank by 10 levels, and killing a prince will rank them up by 50 levels. The player's aura capacity increases along with their level, a further incentive for them to kill indiscriminately. Upon passing level 20, players develop their own Nen ability, somewhat reminiscent of the system used in the Succession War, where powers are bestowed by Karkin Seedern. Upon reaching level 100, players are dubbed Member Zero, and are bestowed the ability to create their own communities of players, presumably another 22, which too is somewhat reminiscent of another system in the Hunter world, that being the Chimera Ants hierarchy. One of the Haley members, Luini, kills 20 passengers on the upper decks of their Tier 3, which fellow Haley member Cashew helps him in getting away with by giving a tearful semi-true account to Mizaiston. Luini later kills a group of Char members guarding a storehouse containing weapons owned by Phaeton, Finks and Nobunaga. Storehouse, warehouse, same thing. Having failed to freak out the troop members, Luini develops an adoration for them and wants them to join forces with him in wreaking havoc on the ship and ultimately in the world. All in all, Haley family members are suspected of killing 8 Char family members, over 300 CU family members, and tens of non-mafias aboard the Black Whale. God, they've only been there for a little while. Next, let's talk about the CU family, who are the biggest of the 4 mafias. The Char boss, Broccoli, learns of the Phantom troops boarding the Black Whale. Assuming that his illegitimate half-brother will agree with his fears regarding the troop, he calls the CU boss, Oniar Longbow, and says, "So like, Crollo and that lot, troublemakers they are, why don't you and me get together and like, kill the old lot?" To which Onya says, "Alright mate, you got a fucking deal mate, fucking YOLO." Ooh, careful Crollo. The broccoli and onion have decided that you need to be sleeping with the fishes.
No, not the indoor fishes, you crazy fucking psychopath!
The two agree that the Phantom Troop are a threat to the power balance within the Karkin Mafias and plan to have the Phantom Troop and the Haley wipe each other out. Their plan is based on the observation that both the Phantom Troop and their illegitimate niece, Haley boss Morena, are careless and reckless and savage enough that they will just destroy one another if given the chance. To facilitate this battle, Anya and Brocco send their underlings to find Hisoka, as they have a common goal with Hisoka, killing the Phantom Troop. However, Anya doesn't intend on waiting for Hisoka's assistance to launch counterattacks on the Haley. Instead, he orders his underboss Hinrig to go to the Haley family's Tier 3 and carry out 2 tasks: find Hisoka and kill Morena. This prompts Hinrig to call upon 2 fellow CU members, Lynch and Zucchero, to assist in crushing the Haley family. The chapter before the 2019 hiatus ends with Lynch learning of Morena's intentions and abilities, and Hinrig learning that the Haley family are listed as civilians as opposed to mafias. Meanwhile, whilst Hinrig, Lynch and Zucchero operate on Tier 3, Anya allows the Phantom Troop access to Tier 4 in an attempt to keep an eye on them. Basically, he does a second Hokage and lets the Uchiha be police. Right, that's them out the way. Next we have the Char family. Following his phone call with Anya, Rocco also tasks his underboss, Kenny, with finding Hisoka. The Char members initially suspect the Phantom Troop of killing their warehouse guards. When it is revealed that the Phantom Troop were innocent, they decide to team up with the troop and insert them into their surveillance rounds. Later, 8 of the Char members searching for Hisoka are killed, along with over 300 CU members. That's basically the whole family. Kenny and Tajao, the underboss and vice boss of the Char family respectively, conclude that the Haley family must be behind the murders. Not much else to them. Next up, and finally, the Bua family. Apparently it's pronounced Bua. I don't know if it's Russian or German or what, but let's go with it. The Bua family bribed soldiers into allowing them to set up a blockade along the path leading to the Black Whale's Tier 5 cafeteria, where they charge people an entrance fee. They also tried doing this to the Phantom Troop and got their asses kicked. Yeah, that's about it. They then had to tell them what they knew of the other 3 families, and that's all they've really done in the show so far. Moving on then, we're done with the Mafias, time for the Phantom Troop. Being thieves, they want to steal the Kakin Empire's treasure. That, and kill Hisoka. They've learned roughly how the Mafias work and are making their way up the ship's decks in search of Hisoka, and the treasure likely located on Tier 1. As I said before, they've teamed up with the Char family and have been allowed access to Tier 4 of the Black Whale by the Shiyu family. Illumi and Karuto, however, were spotted by soldiers on Tier 3 during a lockdown while said soldiers were searching for a stowaway with a deadly weapon. Except that it's not really Illumi and Karuto. It's almost definitely Hisoka and Karuto. Using his newly upgraded bungee gun powers, it seems that Hisoka has done something sus and shapeshifted into a Phantom Troop crewmate. Anyway, time to chat about Kurapika, and a little about Beyond and the Zodiacs. First off, good old Mizai Stom found out that naughty Serednik had developed a hobby of collecting scarlet eyes. He told Kurapika that if he joins the Zodiacs and helps out on the Black Whale for a couple of months, he'll tell him who has the eyes. Kurapika agrees, and shortly after, he, Cheadle and Mizaistom figure out that the Temp Hunters and Sayu, likely working under Pariston, are plotting to help Beyond escape custody once they all reach the new continent. Kurapika cleverly concludes that Beyond will not attempt to escape en route, and that they shouldn't arrest Sayu until right before landing as to avoid giving Pariston time to change plans. Linson, the most senior bodyguard for the Nostrad family, informs Kurapika that 6 of the Kakin princes are anonymously hiring bodyguards to eliminate risk factors. Kurapika uses this opportunity to his advantage by hiring Izunavi, Hanzo, Basho, Melody and Bisky so that the 6 of them can all apply for these roles, helping Kurapika get closer to Serednik. To Serednik. Kurapika tries to deduce which prince behind these job vacancies might be Haukenberg, as he appears to have a close relationship with Serednik. However, Haukenberg is a popular prince and is therefore frequently targeted by assassins. Queen Oito, the mother of 14th Prince Wobble, uses this to her advantage and creates the anonymous job advert in a way that is reminiscent of Haukenberg. She does this in order to hire an assassin so that she can make a deal with them. Protect me and my daughter during the Succession War, and you'll get close to Haukenberg while you're at it. Whilst Kurapika is not trying to assassinate Haukenberg, he still finds this convenient anyway, as it allows him to get closer to Serednik. Queen Oito, and by extension Kurapika, want Haukenberg to win the Succession War as he is the only prince that Oito can blackmail to keep Prince Wobble alive. The blackmail being that she will reveal to the public Haukenberg's participation in a bloody feud, damaging his public image and popularity. Seeing as Benjamin is the only prince with a large number of underlings that use Nen, Kurapika lets the other princes know about the existence of Nen and the Nen Beasts, and begins teaching Nen to Wobble's guards, including those who are working under orders from other princes and queens. This is in order to force a stalemate, or at the very least, equalise the power balance between the princes enough to prolong the Succession War and get Wobble and Oito to the new continent alive in one piece. However, a Nen user who currently remains anonymous is using Kurapika's Nen lesson classes as an opportunity to kill the guards with an ability called Silent Majority, which summons a doll that in turn releases blood-sucking snakes. Last but not least, let's quickly go over the 14 princes. We've already covered Wobble. He's just busy shitting nappies and setting his demonic Nen beast on innocent people. No biggie. As for the other 13 princes, there isn't as much to say that's vital to the story, so I'll give the major points for each one. Benjamin and Serednik are brothers, and they are both absolute demons, plus they're dying to kill each other. Benjamin is also in command of the largest number of soldiers of any of the princes. Whilst Benjamin was originally planning to purge the other princes quite quickly and aggressively, Balsamilko, who is both a master sergeant in the royal army of the Karkin Empire and the captain of Benjamin's royal guards, slows Benjamin down by giving his worries regarding the other princes' Nen beasts and the hunter bodyguards, who are bound to know more about Nen than Benjamin's own guards. Benjamin thus changes plans and has many of his own guards work under the other princes to gain intel on the Nen beasts and hunters. It's kind of like a really obvious spy, where they accept the spy because, hey, it's free protection. Why not let them gain intel on us? Keep us alive, please. Benjamin sees Halkenberg as the biggest threat, with Kurapika and Serednik being the next biggest threats. Balsamilko later has Halkenberg arrested, and Benjamin declares that the first trial will be the site of his battle with Halkenberg. Next prince. Camilla tells her mother, second queen Dwarzel, that she plans to kill Benjamin and Halkenberg. Benjamin's soldier, Muse, eavesdrops on the conversation, but is eventually killed by Camilla as she is on her way to kill Benjamin. However, she fails to kill Benjamin and is arrested by his other guards, but she's ultimately let free at the court as there's no proof of who killed Muse. Next prince. Zhang Lei is helping protect Wobble in exchange for Kurapika disclosing stuff about Nen. He's also trying to figure out what his own Nen beast actually does and if he ought to put his coins back into its mouth. Though he doesn't think its abilities are combat types that will be useful for the war anyway, so rip. Next prince. Serednik. When Serednik learns of the existence of Nen through Kurapika's announcement, he asks his own guards if any of them are Nen users. The only one to respond is the leader of his guards, Theta, and so Serednik has her teach him the basics. Knowing that Serednik is a danger, Theta and Salkov, one of Serednik's other guards, discuss the matter and agree that Theta should be the one to teach Serednik Nen so that she may keep his growth to a steady minimum. During their lessons, Theta quickly realises that Serednik is a man of unparalleled genius. She fights an internal conflict of both wanting to see how magnificent a Nen user Serednik can become and needing to kill him for the good of the world. But after confirming that Zetsu will indeed make his Nen beast disappear and render the prince defenseless, she does try to kill him, although she fails as Serednik uses an ability he accidentally discovered while practicing Zetsu to survive her attack. Next prince. Tubeppa. She forms an alliance with Serednik in hopes of taking out Benjamin, Camilla and Zhang together. She was also keen to have her guards learn Nen from Kurapika. That's about it. Next prince. Tyson is overprotective of her guards. She tells them that reading her book titled The Book of Tyson will grant them Nen abilities, which may be true as it seems that whatever these princes think is their ability ends up actually being their ability. Tyson also believes that her book is capable of bringing about world peace, and this is probably also true seeing as reading the book triggers it to absorb the Nen of the reader and provides them with joyful emotions in return. Next prince. Lazarus wants to kill his biological sister Tubeppa before the other princes. He can't be asked to learn Nen himself though, but he does agree for his guards to train under Kurapika. Also, towards the end of the more recent chapters, he seems to be getting targeted by Halkenberg. Not much else to say really. Next prince. Saleh was overconfident and busy banging mad bitches. He didn't take the competition seriously enough, even though his mummy, 5th Queen Swinko told him to. And now he's dead, lol rip. Next prince. Halkenberg cries at the thought of his fellow princes killing one another and attempts to kill King Nasubi instead to end the war. But he fails and is swayed by Nasubi into actively participating in the war so that he can become king and then make the very role of king unnecessary. Next prince. Kacho and Fugetsu are the twin daughters of 6th Queen Seiko. They're the ones that hired Melody to be a bodyguard. Kacho convinces her mother to allow Melody to play a song at the banquet. Kacho then orders Melody to use that opportunity to place the upper tiers in a trance while she and Fugetsu escape the Black Whale. However, as per the Succession War's Nen conditions, attempted escape is met with death. Kacho is killed on the lifeboat whilst Fugetsu teleports back to the ship. However, a Kagebanshin no Jutsu of Kacho is manifested by her Nen beast, which Fugetsu mistakes for the real Kacho, therefore not realising that her own twin sister is actually dead. Next princes. Mariam and Momose are the son and daughter of 7th Queen Savanti. Savanti asks Momose if she can look after herself and assigns the majority of Momose's guards to Mariam. One of the guards left with Momose, called Tufty, is actually a spy for 5th Queen Swinko. He takes advantage of the loosened security around Momose and, acting of his own accord, kills her in her own bed. Momose is later avenged by Hanzo, who is shh, not a ninja. Savanti sends her bodyguard, Baragen, along with one of Mariam's guards, Bellaraint, to learn Nen from Kurapika. Though Bellaraint is already a hunter, he's the guy who helped Kurapika escape suspicions of being the silent majority user, the power that actually killed Baragen, lol rip. Alright, that is pretty much everything. Now, I know it's a lot to take in, so I'm gonna summarise those summaries. Let's put everything with where we are right now in the story into a nice, easy, digestible, bite-sized formula so that we all know exactly what's happening when the next new chapter is released and we start and we start reading it. The expedition. King Nasubi plans to colonize the Dark Continent. Steiner of the IPA helps devise a plan to trick Nasubi into colonizing the new continent instead. The Shiyu family. Broccoli calls Anya and over the phone they decide that they should get rid of the Phantom Troop. Over 300 Shiyu members are killed by the Heili. Anya orders Hinrig to find Hisoka and kill Morena, and Hinrig takes Lynch and Zakura with him. The three of them learn lots of info about the Heili family. In the Heili family, Morena was mistreated by King Nasubi and becomes a mafia boss via a coup d'etat. After that, she orders them to all kill each other until there are just 22 remaining. On the Black Whale, Morena wants to wreak havoc via a death game with her Contagion Nen ability. Luini kills 20 passengers, warehouse guards, and then grows to idolise the spiders and wants them to join forces with him. Hailey kill 8 more Char and 300 plus more Shiyu family members. The Char family want to help the Shiyu family find Hisoka so that they can get the Hailey family and the Phantom Troop to kill each other. It's the Char family that had their warehouse guards killed by Luini, though they temporarily blame the Phantom Troop for that until they later realise that it was the Hailey family's fault. Another 8 of their members are then killed by the Hailey while searching for Hisoka. As for the Bua family, they charge entrance fees to a cafeteria, bribe soldiers to turn a blind eye, and get beaten up by the Phantom Troop. As for the 14 princes, Benjamin has lots and lots of soldiers and Nen users and wants to kill Halkenberg ASAP, followed by Kurapika and Serednik. Camilla was arrested for trying to kill Benjamin and has been let off the hook for killing Musa for the time being. Zhang Lei is offering security to Wobo and Oita in exchange for Nen info from Kurapika, and is unsure if his own Nen beast will even be relevant to the war. Serednik underwent one-on-one Nen lessons with the leader of his guards, Theta, is now training under another of his guards, Salkov, and wants to master his reality-altering ability by learning to instantly activate Zetsu. Tubeta formed an alliance with Serednik in hopes of taking out Benjamin, Camilla and Zhang together, and was keen to have her guards learn more from Kurapika. Tyson has a book called The Book of Tyson that bestows joy and power to its readers whilst absorbing their Nen, and believes that her book will bring about world peace. Lazarus wants to kill his biological sister Tubepa first, can't be asked to learn Nen himself, and seems to be currently targeted by Halkenberg. Saleh was killed due to overconfidence and neglect. Halkenberg tried to kill King Nasubi to stop the war and save the princes, was then convinced by Nasubi to fight in the war, and has a super powerful ability that turns his underlings' Nen into armour and his own Nen into an unblockable possession arrow. Kacho and Fugetsu, the twins, arrange and conspire for Melody to place the upper tiers into a trance during the banquet, try to escape the Black Whale, discover that Nen conditions kill escapees, and then Kacho dies and is replaced by a clone without Fugetsu realising. Mariam is growing attached to Bisky, currently his guard, and has a dinosaur Nen beast that grew scarier when his sister died. Momoze had most of her guards transferred to her brother, and was then killed by Tufty, one of 5th Queen Swinko's spies. Wobble, or rather Oita, devised a mutually beneficial relationship with Kurapika, was loaned Seirid's ability Little Eye via Kurapika's stealth dolphin, and wants Halkenberg to win the war so that she can blackmail him into keeping Wobble alive. Well, it feels weird to end such a long video really suddenly, but if this was helpful then before you go, I mean...
Subscribe you piece of shit!